the Bank of Ghana. What has happened and as they've been asking for is that just a handful of the leaders or the leadership of that protest were allowed to meet personnel that were, delegated on behalf of the governor to receive the petition. Now today, as we've been hearing from the communications director of the NDC, or the biggest opposition party, the protesters were really represented by Okada Association, Arise Ghana, COPEC, ASEPA, KAYE Association, Concerned Drivers Association, and a lot more associations. If I get to have the opportunity, I may bring all the list. Now, a little earlier this week as well, concerns about dialysis also came up. We're going to have conversations which I think will tie into some days ago, the protest that happened, the 3 days protest that happened, they occupied the Jalebi House as well. But guys, let's have this big conversation. This evening, I'm always on TV in the morning, so sorry. But this evening, I'm joined by Chris Atadika, political marketing strategist, and also joined by Courage Nobi, acting communications director for Movement for Change. Now, Chris, I know, has been very vocal and very active, both on social media, on television, and even on radio. Now, today as well, he was there. Let's ask him personally why he was there. Chris, good evening, how are you?
Good evening. I'm not fine. And as you can see, my placard that I had at the demonstration indicates that we are running a country, a democracy, where there is no accountability. And that is why it is important that the young people of this country show up and speak up. We need to demand accountability from those we have given the mandate to lead us, who are beneficiaries of our taxes being given to them, and then expecting that they show us what real leadership means when it comes to governing a nation. So as young people, I didn't expect, I woke up this morning feeling that I had to be there to at least even represent my friends who, for one reason or the other, may not, show up, probably have to go to work. Some probably have to go to the hospital, visit a relative. Some, engage in other activities. So I was there to represent young people, to seek accountability. And because of the conversations we'll be having in this particular show, that's why I was there. So I'm not fine. If fine is the response you were expecting, but unfortunately, I'm not fine at all.
Okay. Courage, you said that you were part of this protest, but you were online. What does that even mean?
Oh, thank you. I think, first of all, let me congratulate the organizers for a successful event, and also wish the Honorable Alan John Kojo Martin a happy birthday.
Today?
Today is his 68th birthday. And we thank God for life, for strength, and may the Lord continue to shower him with strength for the journey ahead.
A happy birthday to him.
Yeah. Maybe we'll cut a cake in his honor.
That would be nice. I love cake. I'm not sure Chris will want to eat that cake. As for Chris is an angry man this evening, no?
But an angry man is a hungry man. So when there's food, we'll eat it.
Anyway, guys, so I have been thinking that if you really want the governor of the Central Bank of Ghana to step down, there are genuine potent means. You're a political marketer. There are genuine potent ways that the minority could invoke to really get the result. And so many people have said that this is just another political move by the minority because then it goes in their favor. I know that you were there as a young person. You have been angry since that three-day protest that happened, Occupy the Jalebi house. And so we know, it's not surprising that I saw you posted pictures and videos over them. But on the side of you personally, the minority leading this particular protest, is it the genuine way to really get the governor to step down?
You see, one of the main, attributes, or one of the main, let me say, responsibilities of party in the opposition is to represent the voices of the people, to put the government in, the government of the day in check. So, a lot of people can call it what they want to call it, whether it is a demonstration that has a political motivation, whether it is a demonstration that is fueled by people because they want to come into power or they want to come into office in the next election. The question is, are Ghanaians facing challenges? And whoever stands up to speak up for Ghanaians is somebody that we should, forget about the political interest. The point is that whatever they are discussing, does it represent the true state of affairs of the nation? So today, I saw a placard that said that the youth of this country do not have jobs. Now the question here is whether it is being done by the NDC that is seeking to come into office in the next election or not. Are the youth of this country, in that particular situation? Our healthcare is in a deplorable state. Like we are coming to talk about, the high amount of monies
paid for dialysis.
For dialysis. The question here is that the case? And you can see, even in the media, the spokesperson of, Kolebu comes out to say that, it is legitimate because they cannot sustain operating that particular unit with the amount of money they were taking at first. And that increment was justifiable. The CEO comes and says that, no, it is still going through discussion and approval procedures. This is the state we find ourselves in. A lot of people don't have their lives sustainable. People cannot, they don't have sustainable livelihood to even afford having 3 square meals a day. Eating morning, eating afternoon, eating evening. People cannot pay school fees of their wards. People cannot afford even normal diagnostic procedures in the hospitals. So you sit down and you say, and so I tell people, you can say everything you want to say, whether the demonstration is fueled by members of the opposition party. That was what was said about the Occupy Julobi House protest. This particular protest, it said that because you saw a lot of members from, the minority and everything in there, does it change the fact that there have been procurement processes that have been breached in this particular Bank of Ghana new headquarters, arrangement? Does it take out the fact that there has been escalation of the cost of, the project? Does it take out the fact that a company that has been given that particular contract, evidences show that that company has not been registered with, the Registrar General's department? So these are conversations that people would want to, have to,
devoid of politics and all.
Yeah, to try and deflate the effect of what Ghanaians want or are demanding from their government.
Okay. Courage, so this 60.8 billion Ghana cedis recorded as a loss by the BOG. I'm asking questions that, is it that the governor is really incompetent, as they have said, or we have genuine concerns and genuine reasons why, he had to take that initiative to take decisions that would cushion us? I understand that you have to seek to do recourse. You must go to Parliament for approval for certain things. But in some of his press releases, you'd realize that he said that most of these things were sought through the finance minister. So I get the impression that he didn't just get up to print the amount of money that the minority is saying. He didn't just get up, to pump those monies into the system or print monies that he's been, accused of printing. And so what really will be the role of the governor if he doesn't have the power to take these such decisions to cushion us as a country, whether or not this is going to go south or not? Okay. If you understand my question, yes. What then would he be doing over there?
I think what I see is a lack of leadership and lack of character. Ultimately, whatever position that you're given, you have responsibility over that space. So, for example, you are host of this program, and you are responsible for how this program turns out. Here, there is head of production, and he is also responsible for what happens at the back end of production. Yeah. Whenever you have people saying that, oh, as for me, I'm just a producer, he's the CEO of the organization, or then you're seeing irresponsibility. You must take responsibility for the decisions that you make. You are not a zombie. Nobody is put in a position and expected not to use his judgment in making decisions. So all that I'm seeing is irresponsibility, shifting of blame, and not taking responsibility for the actions that you have taken. Okay, for something, you probably might run it by a superior.
Yes.
But you make the ultimate decision. And if superior says, I think you should do this, and you disagree, we must see you take actions that mean that you disagree. Some which would include resigning from the position, because you think that what you are being asked to do by your superior does not fall within one ethical bound, or even from your competence standpoint, with your technical knowledge, for which reason you are there, it does not meet that, and so you resign on the basis of principle. But you don't stay there, enjoy all the perks that come with it, you make the decisions, it goes, and now you say you seek to absolve yourself of blame. That is irresponsibility, and that is what is characterizing what we are seeing at the BOG.
Okay.
See, what would have happened if this man met Ghanaians, spoke to Ghanaians, and said that we are this critical moment, and for that matter, some critical decisions have to be made. Get the buy-in of the citizens, of civil society, of opinion leaders. Could we have a forum where we discuss the way forward? What options are there? These are the tenets of good governance that we want to see. And that is what has been missing. And that is why, rightly so, the citizens who want to have democratic dividends, that if we queue to vote, if we subscribe to democracy, there is something that we are expecting as citizens. And so whenever we are not having the dividends of the democratic enterprise that we've signed up for, we will use the democratic processes to register our displeasure. And that is why the disrespect or attempts to undermine the demonstration is unfortunate.
And so, Chris, so today we're told that the governor himself was unavailable to receive the petition, and so the head of security was the one that received the petition.
Can you imagine?
And Minority, your leader, or the leader of the protest, says that it's disrespectful. How so?
It is disrespectful. You know, it is disrespectful. You see, Ghanaians, I don't know, but the democracy that we have now, that unfortunately over the years we have had failed leadership that has, you know, channeled energies into sustaining this particular democracy. Unfortunately, if we are not careful, you see, Ghanaians are peeved. Like he just said, there's an issue with a place that you are a leader of in government. Ghanaians have, let's even say that the minority is lying to Ghanaians and is putting out false information. All we saw from the BOG was a press release that is difficult to get a lot of people to understand.
Yeah.
So if you had even come in person, a video, even pre-recorded from your outfit, explaining to Ghanaians that this and this and this and this are the issues. But we've not heard anything from members, even from the government. They've been silent. You have also been silent. And then there is a petition. Fine, the police has been able to barricade around the art center. So then the agreement is that those who are leading this particular protest would walk towards the Bank of Ghana. And then you are supposed to bring someone to receive.
That's a difficult and a daunting one. You want him to really walk and receive the petition,
and he doesn't,
to step down.
You see, my point is, he doesn't even come, and then he brings somebody who we cannot, hold accountable to a certain, extent. You bring your head of security to receive the petition on behalf of the Bank of Ghana.
Who would you rather, his deputy?
No, the question is, if Bank of Ghana is going to take an award today, and it's been awarded for something, would you have the head of security going to take an award on behalf of Bank of Ghana?
That's a good question to ask.
If today they are sharing some, let's say, some free money that has come, and you are saying that we want to reward, the leadership of the Bank of Ghana, would you have your head of security going to take, that amount of money on behalf of the directors? Come on. It's disrespectful, not even to minority. That's why I don't want you to even limit the disrespect to minority. It is disrespectful to every Ghanaian.
Okay. The Bank of Ghana said that they are working hard to recover the losses. And so do we think that asking him to step down, not just him and his 2 deputies to step down, who then will be able to come and work to recover the losses? How are we going to recover the losses if the person that we're saying is the one that contributed to the loss? How can we recover if we ask him to step down?
I think there is a saying in management that one can only be promoted to their level of incompetence. What we are seeing is the outcome of decisions made by these people. And it points to the perennial challenge with this government. It is as though, apart from people who have been put in these positions, we do not have any more experts in Ghana. We do not have any more people in Ghana who can truly occupy these positions, which is not the case, which is falsehood. And it is part of the challenge with the current duopoly, with the partisanship that we have, such that the administration is unable to even reach into the opposition for quality materials that could actually help solve the problem, or even outside of the political establishment. That is the problem. So it's about the entire governance architecture and its internal contradictions bringing out these challenges.
In essence,
he's not the only person in this country with knowledge of central bank management.
if he had the power to appoint.
If I had the power to appoint, I'll kick him out. I'll kick him out right away. Professor Bobkin could make a fine one. Dr. Theo Echampong could make a firm one. There are people. We can even go beyond this country and find out other Ghanaians practicing in other jurisdictions and bring them in. We saw Lee Kuan Yew do it. We've seen the Chinese do it. We've seen Rwanda do it.
You recommend somebody who is purely non-partisan, nobody that belongs to a particular political party.
But one who has the technical expertise. And I think this is where the movement of change is advancing comes in. That the current system does not allow for quality outside of the party to be engaged.
The movement of change, by this you mean Alan?
Yes, Honorable Ancho Martin and his movement for change.
Okay.
So the vehicle for the independent candidature is the movement for change.
Okay.
That is saying that we need to have a government of national unity where everybody is brought on board on the basis of merit.
Okay. Chris, it's safe to say Chris is a highly representative of the young people of this country. It's safe to say that about you.
Yeah.
And Courage here also thinks that the third force, particularly movement for change, could be that deal breaker for us.
You see, before I come to this particular question, I want us to talk about the reasons why when someone is in a leadership role and the person does not, serve in the expectation of those that he is leading, it is expected that that person steps aside for someone else. Do you know why that is done? So that there is some level of reverence that comes with, leadership positions. You cannot make a mistake that would cause, a lot of damage, and then we still allow you to sit in that position. The question is, how would the people that you are leading even perceive, or the perception that they have towards that leadership position? It waters down. So it's a culture that we do not have in our society.
Is it not the kind of power we've given to the president as they're appointing?
Those are some of the issues that have been raised. Occupy Julobi House protests saw a lot of young people talking about, constitutional reform, a total reform of the system, because the system over the years has been, mechanized in a way to ensure that people even do things that are wrong. The system supports them to still be in those positions, to continue and perpetuate the wrongdoings, and even the system celebrates them. For example, Bank of Ghana, we're talking about their operational expense. The allowances that are given to directors
is enormous. It's a huge one.
Remuneration structure, even in that particular institution, that is supposed to be an institution that represents government. And that is the problem that most of us had, going out there to demonstrate today, that there is a lack of prioritization in that particular institution. Priorities. In the wake of COVID-19, people were dying. Ghanaians, the whole world, people were looking for ways to try and bounce back their economies and everything. It was during that time that Bank of Ghana was initiating and undertaking procurement procedures to ensure that a contract is given to somebody to build a new head office.
Let's get some clarity. Is it the procedure that was breached that is the problem, or the amount of money that we suspect is being inflated that is the problem, or it is the decision to be proactive to try to solve a problem that's the problem?
Everything that you said is the problem.
Is the problem?
Everything that you said is the problem.
Okay.
It's like a plethora of problems. Things that have just been mounting from one stage to the next stage, to the next stage, to the next stage. So, like the issues that we had when we were all there in this country, nobody knew about the cost of the president flying around in his private jet. Then we got a member of parliament who went to do investigations. That's the Honorable Okujetu Ablakwa. He came out and he brought all these revelations out. As a young person, you say that if I start listening to him and interrogating and asking questions, then it means that I'm NDC. What is the sense in that?
Yeah.
He is bringing factual evidence that is showing that the country is sick. We do not have enough. We are spending more than we are able to, accumulate, or in terms of revenue, taxes. And then we have a president who is going around in luxurious private jets. And when somebody from the opposition party has brought this to light, and I start asking questions, it means that I am part of the party. It does not make sense. And that is why this conversation of a third force has been initiated in this era. Unfortunately, when you look at the election, trend from 1992, all those that have shown themselves to fight a certain system, and when I say the system, the political, system that is made up of two strong parties that even have certain, the kind of outside enemies, inside friends. Where in parliament, they are all friends, they come out, and then it looks as though they are not, they are strong enemies.
Yeah, you're not too sure what exactly, whether or not they are opposition or not.
And then you over the years, we've seen that, and then the young people are like, no. It is looking as though we are allowing a particular trend. One person comes, he has his 8 years. The other person comes, they are entitled to their 8 years. There's this level of entitlement
from
that is
parties.
coming to...
Is that what you guys are calling the duopoly?
That is a duopoly, and that is now the entire political establishment that needs to be toppled.
Okay. I'll go for a quick break. When I come back, again, I'm with Chris a lot because you are here very often. I'm with Chris a lot because I want to ask, what do we want as young people? In very straight terms, what do we want as young people? We'll be back shortly. Early detection saves lives, but early sensitization could do twice as much. So this year, we're taking our breast cancer awareness campaign to senior high schools across the country.
We are looking to educate the next generation of women who in turn will spread the word in their own unique ways. Early education, early detection, more awareness.
Our message is simple. Set a reminder, get screened, and cross it out. We're crossing out all of the fear, all of the risks and stigma attached to breast cancer.
Our high school tour will be making several stops at the Eastern, Central, Greater Accra and Ashanti regions, offering inspiring pep talks, breast cancer screening and education, amazing giveaways, and a concert to top it all off.
For further inquiries, you can reach us on 059-229-2746 or visit mx24.app/crossitout. Cross It Out 2023 is proudly brought to you by Top Choco and Floral Tissues.
Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest broken pen stories now. Experience more of MX24 Online. Visit mx24online.com today. MX24. Fun, fearless, and factual.
Hey guys, it's the girl Miss Drew, your hostess with the mostest. Guess what? I'm right here live and direct in Tanzania.
I see myself and all I see is growth. Malaika has really transformed me.
Thanks to Malaika for giving me this platform.
I knew who they were before the pageant and what they've become, and I'm like, wow.
Join us for another captivating season of Miss Malaika Ghana, where we get to celebrate the power of transformation and personal growth. From the intense challenges to the glitz and glamour of the stage, we will get to witness these ladies transform into confident and empowered individuals. But it's not just about the journey. The stakes are high and there are lots of prizes up for grabs. One lucky lady will bear the title of Miss Malaika Ghana 2023, drive away the car, and have a dream vacation of her life with her runner-ups. With the twists, unforgettable moments, and the quest for the crown, this season we get to experience beauty that blooms from within. Miss Malaika Ghana, showing this and every Sunday on MX24 at 9 p.m. Miss Malaika Ghana, beautiful inside out.
Hello there, welcome back to Opposing Views. I'm here with Chris Atadika and I'm also here with Courage Nobi. We're having quite a very good conversation. It's not your usual Opposing Views where there's banter and debate. We're having a very sanitized conversation today. So I was asking Chris before we went on the break that what do we want? Chris, what do we want?
To answer your question, so simple. And I know that our leaders know this. We all, did social studies in junior high school. We're taught about the Abraham Maslow's theory of needs. And this theory talks about you as a person, as you emerge into, the land of the living, how society is formed in a way that you should progress and the kind of needs that you should want at each stage. So you have, at the very basic stage, the physiological needs. Need for water, that's the need for survival. Water, food. Then you come to the safety needs. Need for shelter, clothing. Then you move into social needs. Your social relationships, your families, the people around you, your school, And then as you progress, you move into self-esteem needs and self-actualization. When you ask me what young people need, simple. One, good health care. When the human body is sick, the human body has access to good health care that can ensure their survival. Two, food. Agriculture. Food. So then you are looking at conversations around, survival. The third one, education. So if you have quality education, then you know that chances of you being molded into, society's understanding of what you should aspire to be like in terms of development, human development, what you should be like, what society is teaching. All these things are in the curriculum when it comes to education. And it molds you into a person that is ready for self-esteem. That's when you have a job now. Now you have access to good jobs. You can work. You can have a place of your own. You can be able to afford the basic things that you need, like a vehicle, which is no more a luxury. Then you move into actualization, which is something a lot of us will not get to. But the point is, if government can ensure that in terms of all these stages, you are ensured at least the self-esteem where you have a job. A lot of young people now are depressed. And why are they depressed? There's that low self-esteem. They went to the university, their parents suffered to pay for their degrees. They have the degree now, there is no job. And I keep saying this thing. You see, there are some of us who are not only suffering because of the conditions we find ourselves in, but are friends to these politicians and their kids. And we see the kind of, quality livelihood that they have. They have access to good health care. They have access to good schools. They have access to, good food. You even visit them in their houses. The kind of food they are eating is different. Do you know that there are some families in this country who shop groceries for a year in 40-footer containers from the UK, from the US, and they have it in their stores. And they do not eat like the way we eat. When they are sick, they do not go to the hospitals that we go to. When they are even looking for jobs, they have parents who can ensure that they can even have jobs abroad.
So can we achieve this thing through democracy? Sure. Courage. Since I was born, I know that they say vote for a government that can give you all of these things that Chris has mentioned over here. Absolutely. And so you go and then you vote. Yes. If you take 8 years out of my years, we've been voting. So we voted for NDC, but you still have people saying that we didn't achieve this. Now we're going to go to the polls again 2024. Can we really achieve these things that, Chris is mentioning through democracy? We've tried it, have we not?
I don't know which philosopher said that it is pointless. In fact, in the quote I saw, he said, it is madness to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So, if we keep alternating between NPP, NDC, NPP, NDC, we will not get different results. So within the same democracy, are there alternatives to the duopoly? Have there been in the past? What did we do? Do we have an opportunity now? What are we going to do? It was experimental from '92. We've had 2 terms of the NDC, 2 terms of the NPP. Today, as we speak, the 2 parties are looking like twins. So, if you want to know, check the headlines between 2009 and 2016. And check the headlines from 2017 till now. It's not changed. Why? Because even though there are different people in different parties, the motivation is the same. So it's a matter of turn taking. And that is why I think that the movement for change has come at the very right time. After 2 terms of NDC, 2 terms of NPP.
I keep coming to you, because
I will explain why.
Okay.
The way our constitution is framed, it gives so much power to a president. It's executive presidency. The person we vote for matters most. Every other thing flows from that individual. Every other thing flows. We thought when we had the hung parliament, it was going to change, but nothing has changed. You know why? The motivation for minister MPs, both on both sides, is the same. Accountability is not their priority. Their priority is how do I make enough money to make the $200,000 or $300,000 to contest the next election. So, if you have a government or a president who knows these motivations, it's just a matter of parrying to it to get what they want.
What differently will the movements of change for change do?
Great.
Because if he's president, is he going to be guided by a different constitution?
He's going to be guided by his character, and that's what makes him superior.
But we have always said that it's not that people come to power with bad characters. It's only when they get to power.
No, it's not the case. If you actually analyze the people we've had in power, if you analyze them carefully, you realize that the character flaws have been consistent.
But it's just that we were not minded. They're not there before.
No,
Can you say that the current president had this posture before he became president?
Check the campaign season of 2008 to 2016.
Okay.
What are they talking about? Arrogance. What are they talking about? It's the same thing that is manifesting that the likes of Honorable Vikwete and others were talking about.
So that it doesn't sound like I'm doing campaign for the movement for change. I want to know, how do you
I've actually not even had the opportunity to explain how the movement for change hopes to solve this particular matter in terms of structure, but hopefully we'll get the opportunity to do that.
I want to know how.
You see, because I saw the flyer and I knew that I was coming to meet, Courage. And I know that majority of the time he'll be given the opportunity, he's going to talk about, the movement for change. I put a post on my Twitter. That was yesterday. So I have a very youthful, following. So I just said, the question, what qualities do you think a prospective possible third force in Ghana should possess? So one, I saw as the response, a democratic revolution agenda, which means that the young people of this country are not calling for a coup. The young people want somebody who can appeal to the general populace and get people to get into the ballot boxes to vote for that person. So a revolution through the ballot box. So these are from different people. One who is ready to fix the system, allow them to work as they intend to, total separation of powers, someone who even after power won't relent on doing the right thing and get compromised by the system. He must be able to sanitize the system efficiently. Someone says probity and accountability. Someone says the one thing that I want the third force to show us is a sample of the amendment of the 1992 Constitution. This will make us trust him or her with our votes. Just a sample, keke. No talk. Then a lot of conversation about, fixing the system and everything. You see, why have we not had a compelling third force? Is one thing. The two parties over the years, electoral cycles, have developed, let me say, mobilization muscle, where if we are talking about doing something today, the number of people that will come out because it is something being done by MPP or something being done by NDC, be enormous as compared to somebody who is charting a particular course without these two. So I'll give you a typical example. I was one of the very, at the mobilization thing when it comes to the Occupy Julobi. I was a member of the communications team. Now, we had more people joining this particular protest as compared to Occupy Julobi for one reason. In today's protest, it had the force of political parties coming together. It wasn't just the NDC. It was the NDC, the GUM party, the PNC, CP, all these parties came together. So it was easy to fuel their followers to come there and then show up in their numbers. So there's one thing, it will be very difficult to get a lot of people to rally behind someone who intends to be a third force that does not have this compelling, and wavering, aura around them where they are able to rally people with them. And that's why a lot of people have loosely said that to fix Ghana, we need a coup. It's like a reset system. a coup can only be the reset system. But I tell those people that no, as a political marketer, you need to have, I mean, from my perspective, that person needs to have a compelling message, must have shown consistency.
Are you sure people listen to messages?
People do.
Are you sure?
Yes.
How many people read the policies that Alan kept, reiterating?
I think...
Chris, are you sure people read excerpts of messages? Do they read messages?
I think the onus lies on us, the actors, to try and reach them with a message. I am a reader of hard pages. I love turning the pages. But I used to teach. My students like to do softs. It's difficult to get them. Yes. Again, because of the image culture that we find ourselves in, a lot of information consumption is virtual. It's on Instagram. So what we call carousel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 points. Yes. So it's about we, the actors, making sure that we are processing the information in a format that they will consume, because they are the consumers. So no matter how you format it to suit you, the consumers matter. And that is why this movement, I think, comes in, because we have a lot of, we floated forms for people to volunteer. Just before I came here, I was analyzing the data. If you check the professional backgrounds of the people volunteering.
What kind of professionals are these?
Journalists.
But how many of these people are in Ghana?
Consultants, bankers.
How many of these people are in Ghana? Because you need a force, and I like to think the force you're talking about the numbers.
But these are people who are volunteering to be part of
the message
team.
You see, MFA,
you get it?
why did Kwame Nkrumah succeed? Yeah. He succeeded with a message. One person said, self-government in the shortest possible time. He went around the country and said, self-government now. You see, so messages are very important. And like he's saying, from a marketing perspective, if you are somebody who has understood the market that you are going into, and you understand the dynamics of the market, the characteristics of the people in the market, you segment them, you target, you position your message, you get to them. You see, a lot of people, sometimes I tell people that we say the message, we do not live the message. Politics over the years, if we are looking for the kind of revolution that we want now, we want somebody who has lived a certain message. You cannot come and be telling us conversation about you suffering, and then within your own lifestyle, we are seeing you in a V8. We are seeing a posh car. You are wearing posh clothes, and so sometimes people are like, Chris, why do you look a bit shabbily, like not shabbily dressed, but it looks as though you are not taking good care of yourself. And I'm like, where is the money to take good care of myself? I cannot be on the streets and say that the system is hard, young people are suffering, and then you expect me to be walking around in plush, restaurants like in Sonam and some kind of.
I haven't been there yet. It's a good place, huh?
I've not been there. I don't know, and I will not encourage anybody to go there because it does not reflect the current state of our living.
That's just by the way. Where we are now, we only have 2024.
Yeah.
At least we want to change constitution and all of that. Can that be? No, how?
It can. No, as in the next 1 year.
Yeah, so we can only work with what we have now. These things that Chris is saying on behalf of every Ghanaian here, these things. Yeah. I want to know how. Do you think that the MPP is listening since they are the ruling party in the government? Is this something they can do, or we have written them off that, listen, they can't? Can we go back to the NDC, or are we going to be looking at a third force?
So, you see, let me tell you one problem in our political structure now. Scale of preference. So, there's priority 1, there's priority 2, priority 3, and government knows, and our leaders know it, that we must fix this first, fix this first. This is the sector we must look at first. This is what we must do. This particular sector, when we fix it, will have, a ripple effect or resultant effect.
The agenda 111 is coming up nicely.
You see, so let me go on. So there are different, priorities, set of priorities that government has, and they know what is important than what is, in terms of level of importance.
Priority, yeah.
Priorities,
at least,
scale of preference.
Yes.
Now, they know that when they do priority 1, they will not be able to get more kickbacks when they do priority 1. So they will go and do priority 17. That particular priority will get them to get a lot of kickbacks, arrangement with contractors, arrangement with, you know, procurement and all of that. So what we are seeing happening in our governance is that we are seeing a lot of things that are being done that are not so important, but will be done in number 1, and number 1 will be taken to number 17, number 70, because number 1 will ensure that a lot of people can get kickbacks, get some monies, so that in their various constituencies, they can be re-elected. So it is a cycle. It keeps happening. And that is why Bank of Ghana would go and be building a new head office when there are issues with the economy. You will see a government that is committed to building a cathedral when people have issues. So
Post has just bought iPhone 13 for their board members for swift communication and business.
You see, these are the stories that young people, when we hear, we cry within. You see, because you are telling us in one breath that there are problems, there are challenges with the country. We understand you, we empathize with you, we know that leadership is not easy. Then in another story, we are hearing that you are doing all these things.
When I go to Courage, he's going to tell me that the solution is the movements for change. That is why my neck is still tilted to you.
Not just the movement for change, but what is the movement for change saying?
I like to think that every force has something to say. That's why I'm still sticking with Chris.
No, but
he has to give me
if what the
solutions.
movement for change is saying is consistent with what the NDC is saying, what the NPP is saying, then probably there's no change at all.
Okay.
And that is where we come in. We're saying that it's simple. It's premised on 4 things, 4 key things. Change the duopoly. Prioritize a government of national unity.
Let's say on the duopoly.
Yes.
Yes, but there are many other political parties. We've had Ayariga, we've had many people standing, but Ghanaians
if you
didn't
want
give
the
them
truth,
opportunity.
if you want the truth, actually, most of the small parties are appendages of the bigger parties.
Okay. All right, then go to the third.
Chris will agree with me.
This is true?
The second one.
Is there evidence to that?
Oh, yes, I can actually give the permutation. They should challenge me to, they should take me to court.
Because, again, Alan's team makes me feel like, okay, they are the only third force. But yes, we have a very big duopoly. We have 2 big political parties. But on the ballot box, every time, they're not only 2. We've given citizens options to choose from. And they never really went outside of the 2.
But you see, you know one of the major criticisms.
For today, you are not allowing me. You are not being fair to the movement.
No, because you're duly representing a movement, and he's representing a neutral party.
And
at least today.
He's expressed the sentiments and the concerns and the wishes.
Should I give him the opportunity? Because he wants to give us a solution.
You can give him the opportunity. The point is that, you know, when the Honorable Alan Chemantin came out to speak to Ghanaians, one of the point of concerns for a lot of young people, and then I saw that especially on social media, was the fact that he said that people can go and vote for MPP MPs, and that he is not coming with the parliamentary mindset, but he is coming to just as the leader, the president, and then for MPs, he is encouraging people to vote for
their parties.
He said MPP.
Yeah, he mentioned the NDC as well.
And NDC as well.
Yes.
We're certain on this, okay.
So the movement is not fielding parliamentarians.
But the point is that is the problem that Ghanaians have. That in the parliament, there's a collaboration, and that is where e-levy was passed in parliament.
Yeah.
Ghanaians oppose right now that we are speaking, we've been talking about issues of the sanitary part,
yes.
the taxes on sanitary part.
15% tax.
We are getting an MP from, you know, the minority side, the Honorable Francis Osu,
yes.
who is now championing that, is championing the abolishment of that particular
That's where
tax.
you're going. It can only work if Parliament...
So that is why, if you will give me the opportunity to have a conversation with the Honorable Alan Chemantin today, I would have said to him that, Honorable, you probably shouldn't have said that. Because the Ghanaian people are seeing that the problems stem from, you know, the various constituency levels, the polling station, to the regional, then to the national. So like the way people will freely say that they feel that the Dr. Baumia is an extension of this particular government. When we give that opportunity, it means that we are allowing the Excellency Akufo-Addo to rule again for another term. So that is it. So maybe you can speak to that.
You are here.
Absolutely.
The rest of the minute is for you.
Okay, thank you. I understand the conundrum, and in trying to understand this conceptualization, where we are presently, the political party system has not helped us, and it is because of the entire winner takes all mindset that runs through our politics. So when NDC is in power, it is all NDC. NPP is in power, it is all NPP. The smaller parties, Honorable Yarges, is it PNC or whatever, is controlled by the NDC. Apalu is controlled by the NPP. CPP controlled by the NDC. So those are appendages of the duopoly we are talking about. So now, we look at it.
If you didn't say this, a lot of people watching today, young people will not know. But if we look at Alan, the movement for change, we can shut our eyes and say that it's from the NPP. This is information that's available to you and just people.
He is from the NPP. If you check how the NPP is treating him, even after he left, you will definitely know that he's not part of it.
That's a conversation for another
time. Yes. So the question is, what do we really want to see? And how do we get the system changed? The coup alternative is no alternative at all. Absolutely. So within the constraints of the democratic architecture, what can we do? He says, on the basis of my person, and Chris made it when he said, the message should have been lived. Should have been lived.
In the past. We need a reference point.
So the point is from 92 to 2023. John Honorable and John Kwadwo Martin has been at the forefront of politics in this country.
So we should look at his person from 1992.
Never been corrupt, has no record. I know of a commission work, okay, to dig out rot on him.
Okay.
Nothing. And it was made up of investigators and academics. I was told this just last week by the people who did it.
So if you listen to what Grace is saying, they don't have a problem with him then. They have a problem with the option and the way he wants to function. Now, with still NPP and NDC still in parliament. So if you're going to do a whole revolution, it must be entirely from bottom up to down. Is that not the case?
So the first thing you want to do is that the presidency and the parliament.
That's a sort of, we have presidency. Let's sort out the parliament.
The presidency and the parliament, all right? And then even civil service. Which is your priority? If you look at the constitution today, it is the presidency. The power concentration in the presidency is so huge that with the right person wielding that power, almost every other change you want to see can occur.
Have we not seen the president appealing to parliamentarians to help pass a certain bill? So we think that, yes, he's got the power, but it really rests in parliament at some point.
Even when the parliament said, oh, we disagree, we will not, what happened? It got passed. So beyond that, you're looking at one who has the credibility, consistency in character over the past. And then he's saying that if you vote for me, what you would have done by just your vote is to challenge the status quo, the duopoly. That is, see, your vote firstly for him achieves the first milestone. The second one is where he now comes in and he says, we need to form a government of national unity. Trust me, undoubtedly, I have seen quality in NDC. Undoubtedly, I've seen some in NPP, even though they are in opposition in NPP.
So what, he's going to be recruiting members from NDC, NPP, and
from the Ghanaian society.
All right.
So you have quality in NDC, you pick. NPP, you pick. Quality outside of the two.
Per what standard? His standard, or not what we all know as quality?
So that is where transparency, which he represents, comes in.
Are we going to be voting for these people on his behalf?
Of course, the constitutional arrangements around the town comes in.
I see.
So he floats it. We all know what you need, the requirements you need to meet. To be a DCE, for example, which he appoints for now. And then you, as the one in the district, you know the metric by which to assess that DCE.
Okay.
Now, when all of these...
I have to send you an invoice to come and explain the policies.
I will really, because we need time.
I will,
to go into it. And I really will be ready to come. Okay. But just before we go, the last two is that mainstream industrialization to create jobs. That is what young people want. They want to be able to work, to take care of themselves, pay their rent, transport, and all. And then last but not least, challenge, how do you call it? Fight against indiscipline. Okay. So when these four things are done, we believe that the revolution at least would have started on a very strong note, then we can begin to make the changes that are necessary, including changing the constitution to reflect the desires of the people.
Your last words are going to be what's on your placard?
So I have here democracy without accountability. And you see with the first sign there, you know, it's a luta continua, you know, and we want young people to cultivate the habit of speaking up and then holding the government accountable. So the next demonstration that will be organized, forget about it being tagged MPP or NDC or PNC demonstration or civil society organization. Please come out in your numbers to support and then speak truth to power. Thank you.
For you, that will be a starting and a good point for the Maslow's theory that you just lectured us on. At least when people seek and ask for accountability, we're starting at some point, right? Yes. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. Courage, I'm going to have to send you a new voice so that you come and, you know, dissect these things. You never know.
And 15-point plan for the Great Transformational Plan. And that will, trust me, transform this country. That's what he's been about. Do you know that as far back as in the 90s, he wrote a blueprint for after.
We'll look after that. Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, my friends, it's been a good evening. I just see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on the AM Club. But thank you for joining us on Opposing Views. My name is Emefa Kosiadeti, and stay well.
Early detection saves lives, but early sensitization could do twice as much. So this year, we're taking our breast cancer awareness campaign to senior high schools across the country.
We are looking to educate the next generation of women who in turn will spread the word in their own unique ways. Early education, early detection, more awareness.
Our message is simple. Set a reminder, get screened, and crux it out. We're crossing out all of the fear, all of the risks and stigma attached to breast cancer.
Our high school tour will be making several stops at the Eastern, Central, Greater Accra and Ashanti regions, offering inspiring pep talks, breast cancer screening and education, amazing giveaways, and a concert to top it all off.
For further inquiries, you can reach us on 059-229-2746 or visit mx24.app/crossitout. Crossitout 2023 is proudly brought to you by Top Choco and Floral Tissues.
Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest broken pen stories now. Experience more of MX24 Online. Visit mx24online.com today. MX24. Fun. Fearless